Hello, welcome to this update for the severe weather and especially the winter storms and everything. So let's see what's happening. In terms of storms, nothing crazy, just a storm or two in Florida, parts of the west and the northwest, the probability of a thunderstorm or two, but nothing crazy. Tomorrow for Thursday, shows some more storms across the west, a storm or two there. Even in the Keys, still in parts of southern Texas, a storm or two. But in day three, we have a marginal part of New Mexico, even Oklahoma and Colorado and Texas. So just 5% there, probabilistic. Let's see, strong thunderstorms possible Friday night across parts of eastern New Mexico, adjacent parts of Texas, Oklahoma, Panhandle vicinity. Some of the storms might produce small to marginal severe hail, potential few strong damaging wind gusts. So be aware there Friday. And the fire, we still have a big critical area, parts of the plains, especially Kansas, Nebraska, South Dakota, Minnesota, and some areas, North Dakota, and elevated from Texas to Minnesota, and elevated in parts of Nevada and Utah, even near the Gulf, and elevated parts of Texas into Florida. So be aware, some windy and dry conditions there could make more vulnerable for like wildfires. So be aware, they say here, some dry, breezy offshore flow in the Gulf Coast, some strong surface cycle on the plains, and the winds plus the dry ahead of that system, so be aware. And day two for fire, we still have a critical parts of Nebraska and northern Kansas and Iowa, parts of South Dakota too, and even southwestern Minnesota, and elevated from Texas to North Dakota. So be aware those areas. Still, uh, let's see, a mid-level ridge will amplify the lower Mississippi Valley to the Great Lakes on Thursday, with close mid-level low near Carolina coast and large trough for the western corners. This pattern will result in some lee trough in parts of the plains, tighter pressure gradient will lead to strong winds in the plains. A larger elevated fire weather conditions expect central northern plains and vicinity, concentrated area of greater fire weather concerns will exist in northern Kansas, eastern Nebraska, and to southeastern South Dakota, far southwest Minnesota, and western Iowa. Significant uncertainty regarding depth mixing and the lowest relative humidities in this area. However, critical fire delineation seems warranted given very dry fuels in the area, sustained winds of 25 to 30 miles per hour, and minimum relative humidity in the 20s. So be aware there later. And day three for Friday, we still have an area around Nebraska and Iowa, parts of Minnesota, Kansas, and South Dakota. So still might be a critical Friday on day three there. So be aware. And this weather map today shows some storms there in the places I showed you, some snow in the northwest, mixed precipitation in the northeast, in New York, Pennsylvania too. And yeah, so be aware. Tomorrow shows more snow and some areas of heavy snow possible, southern Montana, northern Utah, and more mixed precipitation for the west, a storm or two further south there, so be aware. Day three for Friday still shows some heavy snow in parts of Colorado, Wyoming, Utah, and some mixed precipitation in parts of the west, and still a storm or two southern Florida and some areas, so be aware. Snowfall probabilities today shows greater in parts of Washington and shows a tiny snow probability in like southern Colorado. So a slight snow probability today there. Tomorrow day two is Thursday I think, so shows some very high snowfall probabilities in southern Montana, parts of northern Utah. So be aware if you are in the high mountains of those areas. Maybe some significant snowfall. These are just the probabilities, not the accumulation, but shows some high probabilities there in parts of Colorado too, and in Oregon, a snow or two, and Idaho. So be aware. Day three shows more snow in Colorado for Friday. Might be heavier southwestern Colorado in the high elevation, so be careful there. Shows more in Utah, more Wyoming, and yeah, Saturday still shows some snow probabilities in the Rockies, in parts of Colorado, Utah, and even northern New Mexico. And Sunday shows more some slight probabilities in the Cascades and the Rockies. For next Monday shows still a slight probability or two in the Northern Rockies there. And day 7, nothing crazy. So be aware in those areas. Excessive rainfall, just a marginal day 3, so today and tomorrow nothing. Marginal in New Mexico, Colorado for like Friday. So be aware, there'll be a bunch of storms and rain. For Saturday shows a slight risk of flash flooding parts of New Mexico and southern Colorado, even Texas, Oklahoma, and a marginal, so be aware for Saturday. Sunday is still a marginal in those areas. So precipitation here shows today's Wednesday, it's more rain across the west there and the snow in higher elevations, and more rain in Washington and some areas. Day 2 shows more rain throughout uh, in Utah, parts of Wyoming, and Montana and all those areas across the west. Day Day 3 for Friday shows heavier than Colorado, but that's mainly snow in the high elevations there. And more in New Mexico, Arizona, some rain all the way to Minnesota. Day 4 shows that heavy rain in Texas, New Mexico, where the slight risk is, and more in like Kansas and other areas, and shows more rain in parts of Washington to the northwest again. Day 5 next Monday, so shows more across Oklahoma, the plains, some areas, and shows more in the northwest too. Next Tuesday, day 6, shows more some light rain in some areas of the plains or the northwest. Day 7, more in Missouri, but nothing crazy. Day 1 through 7 shows some big accumulations in Colorado and New Mexico and Texas, and especially northern Washington in the Pacific coast. So be careful with the systems there. And let's see, there's the snowfall probabilities here. This is today show like especially in Washington, parts of Colorado, some snowfall probabilities, more across even Idaho and Montana already. That's Thursday. Then Friday shows heavier in southern Montana and parts of Utah. Later on Friday shows some very high probabilities in southern Montana. Be careful there. Later on, still very high in southern Montana, northern Utah, so be careful in those areas. And later on Friday, still very high in southern Montana, start getting more in Colorado. And then Saturday, still very high in Wyoming, in all those areas. Very high probabilities in Colorado for Saturday, especially later on Saturday, show some very high probabilities there. So be aware of those systems and everything. So here, the temperature still shows some 96, 91 Fahrenheit in southern Arizona, California, some 40s and 50s in the northeast, northwest too, some like 50s and 40s, and some mid 80s in Florida. And let's see, today's Wednesday, tonight until Thursday morning shows, especially like Thursday morning, 5 a.m. or something, shows some minimum temperatures of 36, 34, 31. There might be some 20s Fahrenheit in northern New Hampshire, and some 30s in Illinois, parts of Missouri too, and the Appalachians, some 20s and 30s in the higher mountains of the Appalachians. So be careful there. Michigan, Wisconsin, some low temperatures. In the Rockies already very low, especially in the Sierra Nevadas, some 20s in California, and so shows some in the Cascades of like in Oregon, some lower 30s and even 20s, so like 30s there in Montana, parts of Idaho, and Far East. So be aware. Thursday during the day still shows very cold across the mountains of the west, especially Montana. If you are in like very high elevations, be aware of the cold. Show like some 90s in southern Arizona still, and southern Texas some 80s even, to like South Dakota some 84 degrees, and in Florida. So be aware. But Thursday night into Friday, it really starts kicking the cold. So let's see, shows already some 19 in Oregon, some 32, and those higher elevations of like the highest mountains of central Oregon, those purples must be close to like 10 Fahrenheit or 15 or something. So very, very, very cold temperatures. Be careful. Show like some 20s and teens in the Sierra Nevada there, northern and central northern Nevada, some 19, 20 Fahrenheit, some 30s more 30s in Idaho. Some higher elevations of Idaho might get all the way to like minus no, like 15 Fahrenheit or even less. In Montana, those higher mountains of Montana, you might get some very low 20s and some things, so be careful there with the cold. And show like some 30s in the Appalachians still in Ohio, northern Maine, parts of New York, still some high 30s and low temperatures, so be aware. Now, Friday during the day shows some 70s and 80s in the south, 70s throughout the plains, some 60s in the northeast. But this is during the day, and already during the day show like some 30s in the higher mountains of like Utah and Montana and some areas there. So let's see, for example, closer here shows those low temperatures mainly in the high elevations during the day. But Friday night to Saturday morning shows there in the northwest here. Let's see, like very low 20s, even like 12 Fahrenheit, northern Wyoming, like 20, 13 Fahrenheit, some high elevations of Idaho, very low in like northern Utah, throughout Nevada, some 16, 18 Fahrenheit, so some very low temperatures there. Be aware. And let's see national again. So shows all the way down to Arizona, some 24 Fahrenheit, some mountains of Arizona, New Mexico kind of cold, in Colorado some 20s, 30s, so be careful there, those temperatures. Still some high 30s in the northeast, it's like 40s and 30s, so still cold there for Saturday morning, so be aware. Saturday during the day shows like, let's see, still cold there in the Rockies, especially Colorado and Utah, but more than 80 in parts of southern Florida, southernmost California, and southern Texas there. So yeah, and like Saturday night to Sunday morning shows here. Let's see, shows cold in Colorado, so like 20s and 30s. The higher mountains of southwestern Colorado might get all the way to like 15 Fahrenheit or even less. Some 20s in Nevada, so very cold there still. Be aware in those areas. Day 5, Sunday during the day, still cold in Colorado, in the mountains in some areas, and warmer in the south there. As Sunday to next Monday shows here, shows still very cold there across the west. In California, Washington, Oregon, still very cold. Some 40s and 20s in Colorado in the mountains. So be aware. And these are like, yeah, show some 40s across the northeast, some minimum temperatures. And yeah, so be aware, some 50s in the plains. But be careful with the cold there. And then let's see here. There's like for maximum temperatures Monday, still very cold in the northwest, but more than 87, southern Texas, southern Arizona too, and some areas, some 70s in the northeast again. So be aware. Day 6 for next Tuesday, if I'm right, shows here shows yet again cold in the north, some 30s Fahrenheit, northern Montana, northern Washington, central Washington through Oregon, some 20s very cold, northern New Mexico, parts of Colorado, very cold too. So be aware for next Tuesday morning. And Tuesday throughout the day shows like some 50s in the northwest, some 80s and 90s in southern California, southern Arizona, and Texas there. So be aware those areas. Let's see here, like the 24-hour max wind gusts. So today it's very windy there in the plains. Shows some occasional gusts of all the way to like 60 miles per hour in parts of South Dakota there and some areas. Northern Montana, along that mountain range, like northern Montana, shows all the way to like 70 occasional gusts of miles per hour. So be aware, Wyoming, some 50, 60 mile per hour gusts, parts of some mountains of California. So be aware. And let's see the 48-hour snowfall from a blend of models. They already have here More snow. This until Friday. More snow in Washington, Oregon, especially Montana. Some heavier snow there. And northern Utah, Colorado, and Wyoming. So be aware those areas. And the warnings, we have a bunch of red flag warnings throughout the plains there, and in the south there, near the Gulf, some red flag warnings, and even in Hawaii, some red flag warnings. So be aware. And parts of Utah and Nevada, red flag warnings, California too. So yeah, we have a bunch of freeze warnings still, parts of the Ohio Valley, near like the Appalachians too, and parts of the Northeast, some freeze warnings and some frost advisories in many areas there in light blue. So be aware. And there's like freeze watches in like that very light blue in Nevada, parts of Utah and California, those freeze watches. There's that darker blue, like winter storm watch here. So in parts of Utah and Wyoming, some winter storm watches and some winter storm warnings. Southern Montana already there, winter weather advisories. So yeah, be aware. And yeah, even northern Utah winter storm warning already. And some, let's see, some freeze watches in Kentucky and the Northeast as well. And some like coastal flood stuff near Florida and the Carolinas. So be aware. Some statements in Alaska too. Let's see here. In Canada, we have those warnings in northern Quebec, maybe for wind, and some stuff in southern Quebec there. So let's see, for example, British Columbia, some fog advisories. That's mainly this morning. Newfoundland and Labrador. So you saw it was this morning. So it disappeared here. So let's see, Newfoundland Labrador, some special weather statements for, let's see, first accumulating snowfall the season continues. Trans Labrador Highway, Frigo River is ending like this afternoon. So be aware. Northwestern Territory, some fog advisories. There might be like only this morning, but might last later too. There's like Nunavut, some snowfall warnings already. Parts of Nunavut in Greece, Fitzroy, snow will continue today. Be aware there. In Ontario, we have a bunch of frost advisories, and like in all those cities there, near Toronto, Burlington, Niagara Falls, many areas. So be aware of frost in the morning and with crops and everything. Quebec, a bunch of frost advisories in all those locations. So these warnings update all the time, so you can always check here later, and the links in the description. So, but be aware, there's many frost advisories from Quebec during the night and early morning. Wind warnings in northern Quebec, in those red spots there. So yeah, and frost advisories in all the other areas. So you see those frost advisories there, southern Quebec, southern Ontario, the wind warning is there. So be aware in those areas. But these updates like all the time. So let's see here some models for all the areas now. First, wind, because the most interesting is snow. So let's see wind first, and we see like snow better later. So it shows those gusty winds parts of the plains. Today, let's see here. They have like only some 42 mile per hour gusts. This is not like the European model. I trust more the official forecast that I showed you before. But they do have in northern Montana close to like 446 miles per hour. And then this keeps going, like shows very strong winds Friday in Wyoming, Colorado, maybe like 40 to 50 mile per hour gusts, 46, 47 in Wyoming, Colorado. Even Arizona shows some gusty winds, and like from Texas, and a little bit more gusty in the plains too. And then we continue this. Those winds might get occasionally stronger in Wyoming, Colorado, and Utah there, especially eastern Utah, showing the worst winds. But there might be some strong winds in other areas. This keeps going. Nevada near California shows some strong winds as well. So be aware there. In the Sierra Nevada, occasional Friday shows some strong winds too. And this keeps going, like let's see, Friday. So really, the European model is really on with the strong winds. next Saturday, like the 19th, 55 mile per gust in Arizona, shows like some 44 mile per gust for 46, 41, 44, even like Utah, some 55 mile per gust. BR, especially it shows into northern Mexico some more. So if you are like northern Mexico, BR2 shows more in Colorado. So yeah, this continues. Western Texas might get a gusty wind or two, and then yeah, those winds might continue in the plains there sometimes, but especially like the European model shows next Monday, the 21st, summer winds in Colorado and Wyoming, but that's still kind of far out. Shows more gusty winds in California, Oregon, not very gusty, but kind of gusty, especially north there to Montana next Monday and Tuesday of next week. Maybe some gusty winds there. So yeah, be aware those areas. So here, let's see, we have those strong winds. Nunavut, parts of Nunavut, there's not many towns there, but there are some places like some 80 kilometer per gusts, and parts of Quebec too. So let's see, this continues there. In the northern Quebec, might get those very strong gusts Thursday, tomorrow. So be aware in the places in northern Quebec and Nunavut, some strong winds. Let's see, this continues there all the way for like northern Quebec, even Labrador shows like some 70 to 83 kilometer per gusts. Like this is on Friday the 18th, so be aware there. And then here, let's see, this kind of keeps going, goes out there, might leave some rough seas through those strong gusts. And then now Wednesday we have some strong winds near Nova Scotia, and like let's see, they keep going there. Show strong winds in Newfoundland there, like some 74 kilometers per gust occasionally on Thursday, and shows that low pressure system, the Atlantic there, might leave some larger waves along the east coast and some rip current dangers, but no crazy wind threat. Just like later today, Wednesday shows some slightly gusty winds by the European model, parts of New Hampshire and Maine, but nothing that crazy. But like later next week here, we might start having some other systems near the coast to the west there. Shows like, especially before that occurs, like this Friday already shows some very strong winds near the northwestern territories in some areas. This keeps growing to the next system into Nunavut. Next Saturday the 19th shows very strong winds from Nunavut as the system moves on towards northern Quebec in some areas. Even next Monday shows a northern Hudson Bay, might affect Quebec and Labrador next Tuesday again. And then meanwhile it's quite calm on the west, shows a small system there, like the next Sunday the 20th into northern Washington, southern British Columbia, with some like 74 kilometer per gusts, those strong winds in Montana I told you, and parts of southern Alberta, some strong winds in British Columbia. So be aware, some areas on northern Washington next Sunday shows all the way to like some 50 mile per hour gusts. So yeah, be aware, and the system goes there, some are gusty winds or two, and then kind of leaves. And then let's see, we might have some more systems later, but still kind of far out. It's showing big low pressure near like California, some areas, but still this is an uncertain forecast. But something we might have certain is up in Alaska there. Shows this big system emerging from Russia there. Sometimes the European model exaggerates the size of these things, but it does show a big system coming from Russia next Monday, and some very high winds in Alaska there, more than 113 kilometer per gust, like some 70 or more mile per gusts in northern Alaska and western western Alaska. So BOR shows more strong winds into early middle next week. But like the GFS has also that system, some strong winds into western Alaska, the Aleutian Islands. So yeah, be aware those areas. So now let's see the snowfall. Sorry for taking too long. So this is the GFS until Sunday. So it shows some very high amounts in like southern Colorado there, close to like some 36 inches or more, and shows more parts of northern Utah, central Utah, northern Arizona. A lot of snow throughout Wyoming. A big area of Wyoming shows more there in Idaho, some in northern Nevada. Might get some in the Sierra Nevada, maybe a little bit. Still shows a hint of snow in West Virginia, parts of the northeast too. And then shows some more snow in Oregon, in the mountains, in Washington there, and very heavy in British Columbia, some other parts of eastern British Columbia, and to Alberta, some very strong, so very a lot of snow too. And then let's see, this is the GFS. The European might have like here, let's see. So let's see, this until Sunday too. Good. So it does show a lot of southwestern Colorado, more than 32 inches or more. So definitely be careful if you are in those southwestern areas of the mountains there. Colorado, northern New Mexico shows a lot of snow too. Northern Arizona shows some snow. Most of Wyoming, except some very low-lying areas on the east. And the north shows more snow in Utah. Southern Montana shows more, but nothing as crazy as Colorado. Shows more in Idaho, some big areas there. More in Washington and Oregon. Some in Nevada too, and a little bit in California. Shows some tiny hints in the northeast. And shows a lot there in the mountains of British Columbia and Alberta. So be aware. And then there's like the icon. It shows, let's see here. This is until Sunday. It shows a lot in southern Colorado, shows less widespread snow, just some concentrated spots in Wyoming, Utah especially, and Montana. There's so shows some in Idaho, some in Oregon and Nevada, but not as much. Shows more like northern Washington, some and more in British Columbia. So yeah, be aware. There's the Canadian too. Shows, let's see, shows the Canadians really going off crazy with Colorado. Shows more than 60 inches of snow in Colorado until Sunday. This is too much, I think. I think there might be like 36 to 4 inches. The Canadians like 60 inches, so that's insane. But you never know. It shows more in Arizona too, northern Utah, central Utah, parts of Wyoming, more in southern Montana, heavier in some areas, parts of Idaho. Shows some in the Cascades and Nevada. Shows a lot in the mountains of British Columbia and Alberta in some areas, so be aware there. So let's see here, like a little bit better for some areas there. Here, so further north, like beyond that map, the GFS has a lot there, like some 92 centimeters in British Columbia, has like some 84 centimeters, some 81, some 73 centimeters in the mountains of eastern British Columbia too, so be aware. The European has a lot more specific spots, like some 108 centimeters, the mountains of southern British Columbia. These mountains right near the coast might get a lot of snow because of those systems trading in there, so be aware. Near Alberta shows more snow through central Alberta, northern Alberta, more snow in the mountains of eastern British Columbia. Most of northern British Columbia might get snow all over the place, like light to moderate snow and heavy in the mountains there. Southern Alaska, very heavy in the mountains, into other parts of Alaska until Monday. Western Alaska shows more, areas of northern Alaska. Be aware, Nunavut shows snow throughout most of Nunavut, heavier in some further north areas, and a little bit of snow in northern Manitoba, central Manitoba, shows more in Labrador and northern Quebec there, the snow, so be aware. The GFS is similar thing for Quebec, and the icons has a lot in British Columbia there, and Alaska, and yeah, be careful those areas. Some Arctic areas there shows a lot, so yeah, be aware of the snow. And let's just, for curiosity, see one more thing here. So if I put this until Sunday again, let's see here. For example, here, winter weather. So I put snow before. Let's just see if it shows something for like freezing rain or like ice. Probably not. We are still like early in the season, but it does show like up there in British Columbia some freezing rain probabilities in those mountains there until Sunday. Like the accumulation shows some in Wyoming, still higher spots of Colorado, Wyoming. Only some slight probabilities, but you never know. In the middle of that snow, there might be some spots of freezing rain or two. So be aware. This is the European, shows snowfall, so it doesn't have that. So yeah, be aware in those areas. This video is too long already, but let's just see the temperatures here. In Canada, it shows like some minus 19 areas of Yukon, Northwestern Territories, -6, so very cold there. Like I showed on the last video, British Columbia -3, -1, most of northern British Columbia negative temperatures. And during the day, warms up a little bit. Some southern areas might get 17 degrees in Manitoba, but still very cold. And at night again, the European model has all the way to like some minus, wait, I don't know if it loads here, but that's like -20 Celsius or less. So -9 there. Some areas, there are very few towns there, but like -25 in those mountains near Alaska there, and Yukon -22. So very cold there. Be careful. Shows cold in southern Saskatchewan too. So a spot or two of negative temperatures at night there. So be aware for like southern Alberta, many areas -2, -1, northern Alberta -5. So yeah, ahead of that cold front, maybe some 14 degrees on Friday afternoon, or even like 15 or higher, which shows northern Quebec and Labrador, some very cold temperatures too. So be aware that this kind of fluctuates throughout the days, but shows some like tremendously cold temperatures. Yukon, Northwestern Territories, northern British Columbia getting very cold already, in Alberta, so many areas. Be aware in those areas, and like, where is it? Here, shows like in Alaska there's some -8 Fahrenheit, 28 Fahrenheit, so it's like very cold temperatures there too. Be careful in Alaska, southern Alaska very cold as well. So yeah, be aware that snow, the wind